And at the end of his talk, he was gathering up his bags. Remember it like clear as day. Like, and he said, "Oh, and if all else fails, like if you can't get someone to answer the phone or the door, just start stuttering. They'll see you as a human being instead of a salesperson."
That's Mike Thompson, friend, a colleague. He's currently my editor. But most importantly, Mike has just produced a wonderful book, and I get a chance to talk to him about it in this brief interview. Shy by Design. Why is it on my YouTube channel? Because I think it is going to speak to a lot of my audience. How can we take the thing that inhibits us and often holds us back in life, such as shyness, and utilize it to be a strength? This is a story about turning that kryptonite into a superpower. And I hope you get to enjoy some of Mike's insights. I'd love to hear what you think. Share your thoughts and comments below and enjoy this chat.
I grew up like really shy and I had a severe stutter. And I look at that, I saw those things. And then the book, I have some stories of how the story I told, like combined the stutter and shyness with growing up in an environment of military where it's heads up, your shoulders back. If you're going to shake somebody's hand, break it. I was the opposite of that. So I thought I had to be that though. So the story I told myself constantly is I'm not smart enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not enough at all, period. And once I got into the workforce, I took a sales job as like my Mount Everest to kind of like, hey, I need to get out into the world. And sales job thing, like that was the opposite of what everybody had said to me. Um, and that opened my eyes to strengths. Like is like after the first 90 days, I did well. And it was because I observed, I listened, I took notes. Um, I wasn't a fast talker trying to snowball somebody. And looking back though, to your point of simplifying, is it could be like just ingrained in me. If I'm going to speak, I want it to be simple. And I sat back, observed, like just because it's hard for me to talk complicated, like it still is. I still stutter. I get trapped on M's, and my name's Michael. But it's one of those things where I was observing for the first 23 years of my life how people get along. It's like I didn't have a lot of friends. Like was kind of always in the shadows a bit. And like unconsciously, I was absorbing all of these interactions of how people like to be spoken to, how they don't, story formats, what engaged people, what was charismatic, what was confidence. I was absorbing all of this stuff, and halfway through my life, like it started to actually pay off. So I think those things do really. The challenge of life is to overcome your personal challenges. It seems for like a lot of people I know, and listening to the world and spotting the signs where it's like, hey, maybe I am okay this way, or that's actually a good thing. Like in sales, listening is the number one thing. Like I didn't know that. I just thought it was a charismatic person like in the late 90s, So it's interesting that all of those things though combined, I think really helped me. When I sat down to write, I started at age 37, and quickly I was like, I can't believe I spent 15 years in sales, communication, teaching, struggling. And my natural voice is best in writing. So it's one of those moments like I am an idiot, but I wouldn't have anything to write about if I didn't have those experiences or anything that resonates with people of challenges and vulnerability. All of those things have impacted, like helped me to get moving as a writer.
Yeah, I think those experiences are important, and I think the depth of a writer is often found inside the humility of life experience. Um, and I think the idea of shy by design is powerful because I think a lot of people who are introverted, and I would say personally, I'm an introvert, but I've created a persona, be an extrovert. to navigate the world. But if I think back to my to the core of who I am, I remember a quiet, child who felt emotional and unstable in the world. So we then design a way to deal with the world. And I think for you, I know when you spoke to me before about that sales role and that period of your life, and ironically, we both worked in similar industries as well. I ran a mortgage company with loads of salespeople, so I
Mm.
remember very well what that period was like. Um, the 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 arc is interesting because you grow up with your dad in the military. You grow up with this, strong masculine presence. This is how you need to be. Go into sales, pre the Great Recession, where it was like kill, 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 push, push, push. Make more money, and you only really find out who you are when you step onto the soil of a new life and a new way of being with your wife, and just a whole shift in terms of the life that you thought you needed to leave and live, and the person that you thought you needed to be. But actually, the person who you are now is really reflective of you. This is you. And okay, you stuttered and you had those problems. And I know, like, coming on video today, it's not your preferred medium. Um, but this is who you are now. Like, the evolution of who you become is powerful, and here you are with your book, man. It's so exciting. I'm so proud to see what you've done and all that you've achieved. But how does it feel now to be at this moment where people are now posting about your book? It's getting into people's hands. I haven't got my physical copy yet. I can't wait. But what is going on there?
Um, it's good. I'm too overwhelmed or scared, I should say, actually, to kind of enjoy it yet. Like it's just coming out. So the last couple of weeks have been pretty like self-promotional is not me. So I've had to figure out this past couple of months how to do that in a way that is me, and I figured it out kind of at the last minute. Um, but one thing I do in my stories, like, and it was kind of with self promotion stuff, like, just came down to at the end of just do what I've always done. So stop trying to pitch, like just make the stuff I want to see in the world, and it will attract the right people. And I write stories, and all of my stories, I'm never the hero in it. I'm usually, for my book, it's not good to great. It's like awful to not bad. It's the first steps of getting out into the world. And it's a set of 12 principles that I live by. But the book isn't for you to take those 12, like it's for you to think about your own 12 principles. So I've had to, but one thing I do in the stories though is I'm like the story's about me, but I'm not the hero in it. It's somebody else who helped me along the way. Like, and that, like, by shining the spotlight on somebody else who taught me something, who helped me, uh, like, who let me see the world through a new lens, I still get some of the rays from the spotlight, but I'm not directly under it. And sadly, it took me 90 days of really stress of how do I promote this thing comfortably. I'm not going to do selfies on like LinkedIn every day. It's not me at all. And it just came back to like, what, just do what you did to get the book deal in the first place and share what you're learning from the world and the good people in it. So that's been really helpful, and it's more of a thing like now I'm even stronger. Like now today I'm like, wow, like I know what I need to do going forward now also. Like it's kind of like I needed a pushback from it, like a challenge again of I have to promote a book. The realization at the end of it again was be myself. And so I think this cycle though has repeated for my life multiple times of you reach a new level and you get new devils. And like it's funny though, like each time though I get a little bit more confident like in my own skin of being like just breathe, be you, and what will come will come. But I'm definitely someone who wants to pull people in to my world instead of having to push myself onto somebody.
Yeah. And I've seen that too. And I think, the book arrives after, the last few years where I know you've been lecturing as well in the university in Barcelona. Um, and I wonder if you could talk a little bit about, your shyness, but then also your stutter, right? It's one thing to be shy, but it's another thing to actually feel that you're in some way impeded in terms of your communication, and then have to, you know, suck it up in many ways. You've got to work through it in order to get your voice heard, in order to get your phenomenal abilities really well communicated with other writers. You had to stand up at the front of a classroom. You had to speak. How do you navigate that when I'm sure that the psychological torment of the stutter
Yeah.
conversation that you have to get through in order to be able to be comfortable with it and to speak, whilst also, being shy by design.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, like as humans, we hold on to the bad thing that happens. So you could do 100 things great. Like in that one time that you were embarrassed, scared, you screwed up, sticks in your head. Working with you was a big change in that of shifting like the good memory that was stuck hidden here to the front of my mind. But growing up, yeah, I had to do presentations in class, and it was like we moved around a lot for my dad's job, and like there were teachers who were like, "Get up in front of the class and introduce yourself," and I was like, "I hate you already," you know. And in high school, worse. I had a teacher my first week of high school. I was at a new school, and the the director of students said like, "Hi, Mike, how are you doing today?" Like smiling, like, huh. Like, and I did like a gentle thing, like a touch. And this was like at a Catholic school. And he threw me across the cafeteria. He dragged me out and to the hallway. He took off his glasses. He was like, "I'm going to end you. I used to be, like X, Y, and Z, and I'm 13." And those kind of things that sticks with you, like, and I think it's something I don't like authority even today. And I think the combination of my environment, not just like my dad's a really good guy now. Like he softened, I hardened a bit, like, but just the environment though of seeing his friends, his work, plus the school I was at kind of made me buck authority. So I was kind of like a little punk stuttering kid, like no one really listened to. But that, like in the sales job though, I saw like the shyness right away. The top 10 sales people in the office, like half were charismatic, black, white, quiet, shy. It didn't matter. Like if you picked up the phone the most, you won. And then also in my first couple of months in the job, we had to go to like one of these sales seminars, like the opposite of where I want to spend a Tuesday. And it was like a Zig Ziglar type on stage. Like, and the guy said he was like his, but like all of my like workers were like, "This guy's amazing," and I'm like, yeah, okay. And at the end of his talk, he was gathering up his bags. Remember it like clear as day. Like, and he said, "Oh, and if all else fails, like if you can't get someone to answer the phone or the door, just start stuttering. They'll see you as a human being instead of a salesperson." And I was like, "Oh, well, shit! Like I can do that." So those little cues, like where I was like, maybe it's not that bad. And my clients started to like, I wasn't for everybody. Some people in the office, like it was just like it's kind of like, what the hell is this guy doing here? But I was not like, if you call 100 people a day, like one of those people is going to be like, "Oh, thank God you're not a normal salesperson." Um, so all of those signs, like, and that taught me that I don't have to try to like please everybody. Like it's just like, yeah, who are the people who matter in your life, who's willing to listen, who's willing to give you a chance, who's not judging you. Those are the people I want in my life anyway. So almost the stuttering is a good thing because it kind of Like if you look at me, I don't like I like look like the average American blue-eyed bl- blonde-haired guy, but then you hear the stutter and it kind of immediately weeds people out for me. Like at least it did in sales. And that sped things up of who I want to spend my time with and who I don't. And that was really like is like I'm a people pleaser today still. Like I think I'm just because I wanted connection with people growing up. So I think it's inherent like in me to want people to like me. So I'll go overboard at times. But I also think that that's a strength. Like what a great quality, wanting to please other people. Like as long as you have your boundaries in place, that's not a horrible quality to have. So like all of these stories, like I started, it's like, well, people pleasing a really horrible thing. Vulnerability is that weakness. Like in my sales work, the complete opposite. So all of these stories or terms, we kind of like we have these like a definition of even shy or introverted. Like it's almost like less than. It's like half the world is introverted or shy. Like most people are on like a spectrum of introverted and extroverted. It's not one or the other. But the world would be really boring if it was just all extroverts. Like, my God, it'd be a pain in the ass, actually, you know? So it's questioning my own things and questioning how society operates and what's valuable and what isn't. And my bottom line for anything is the most valuable people take the time to understand what people value. And if you're quiet and shy and you're observing, like that's a great quality to have. Like zero in on what people value and kind of act accordingly, not shape shifting for them, but seeing where your values meet, what they want to achieve, how can you help them. So it's just questioning everything of what's, if I could rename my book now, I think it would be like everything I learned grow, growing up about the world was wrong. Like basically, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And I think, that idea of understanding that vulnerability is strength, but also that your stutter is strength, like that from that Zig Ziglar character, saying, look, if everything else doesn't work, just stutter. And of course, why? Because I, I think the majority of humans are at their core compassionate, and especially if you catch them on a one-to-one, like in a polarized world right now, we're all highly discompassionate towards the other side or folks on the other side of the aisle and all that kind of stuff. But at an intimate level, when we see another human um, speak through their vulnerabilities, I think there's a part within all of us that wishes we could also speak through our vulnerabilities. People are afraid to speak about what it is that they think everybody else is going to see in them. That's so appalling because they feel that once that happens, they're going to be ostracized, set aside, and pushed off away from the tribe. But your book, your way of communicating, and the way that you write is there to help folks who are struggling to understand a pathway out.
Yeah, it's like back to the point of everything I learned was wrong. With like when I teach at a university is I start with my screw ups. Like I'm a leadership lecturer, communication strategist. Like, and I go in there and I show them that my hands are drenched. Like this is not my comfortable place. Um, and I tell them how I grew up stuttering in sales with my Michael and my mortgages and all of this stuff. Like, and that opens up is like I teach students in Barcelona. It's 50 students usually, and they're from all over the world. Like last year was 37 countries. Like, and they all just kind of like they breathe a little bit easier. So you could like your story will put people at ease while also giving them strength to tell that that their own story. And it's not like you have to like everyone's story or everybody, but you see someone's humanity when you learn about their challenges. They open themselves up to the world. Like you see him as another human being. Like, and it's really hard to to hate somebody up front, like who's right in front of your face. It's really easy online. But when you learn, like I break down, like I write for me, like it's a reflection first. Like it's always for me. I cannot write to an audience. So anything I write is for me first. Um, but then by sharing that though, just because it's honest, like it's my experience and my feelings and my emotions, like there's bound to be somebody who connects with that. Is like, I feel the same way. I felt the same way. The circumstances are different, but we've been there. We've all been embarrassed, scared, yeah, whatever it is. And opening up with that. Like I have a student in my class from last year. He thought he didn't have a story, and he grew up in Beirut, and like he was working for an engineering company. Like he's in construction, he wants to build, and Beirut bombs in September 2nd or August 2nd. I forget the exact date. Like, and I should know it. There was explosions in Beirut, and he quit his job. He joined the United Nations to rebuild the city. So I was like, you grew up with destruction. Your mission is construction. Like just the connect, and he looked at it like, and to build the future you want to see. And he was in Barcelona to learn new skills to take back home. Like, and I got shivers like I have them now. Like, and I'm like, what? That's, I mean, that's my God, your story trumps mine. Like, you know, like in his eyes, like lit up, like, oh, I am brave. Oh, I am doing cool things. Like, and he almost felt that him taking off to volunteer would hinder his career because he has a gap. Like, and I'm like, oh my God, the gap is the gain for you. And it's just, but what, like when he voiced the story in the class too, like everybody in the class was like massive respect, you know, but just seeing it through another lens or from somebody else's eyes, asking a couple questions, them being honest with their experience, you can help connect the dots with people. You don't have to figure everything out on your own. That's what you help me with also, is connecting dots of my life experiences to say who I am. My job in the school is the same thing. Like it's leadership, but first and foremost, it's like leading yourself and defining who you are and what you stand for. And you can't do that if you don't open up. Like you have to open up.
Yeah, totally. And I remember like when we did some coaching sessions together, and we talked about your early childhood and challenges of growing up, and in particular we spoke about that really harrowing episode where that teacher was really violent towards you as a 13-year-old kid. And we were noticing how that story was really trapped inside you. You know, when you reconnected to it in our sessions, you were still physically quite traumatized by it. But the more time we spent inside the story, the more you were able to kind of acclimate your nervous system into realizing that, you know, like it's your birthday today, you're 46. That was when you were 13. So that was 33 years ago, right? 23
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thanks,
There we
Justin, for ruining my birthday.
go. But it was as we helped you understand, or more importantly, help your nervous system understand that this wasn't happening anymore, the more you were able to find ease within it. And then, you know, when you referenced it a few minutes ago, I was really consciously aware of how easy you were to talk about it. You were, you know, it was almost humorous. Like the way you entered into it, I actually thought you were going to tell something different. Like you were going to tell a funnier story. And then I realized, oh my God, okay, right. You're talking at the time that teacher was really violent towards you because your demeanor didn't change. So you found that ability to be comfortable with your life experiences rather than be impeded by them. And that then gives such a powerful voice to other folks who are trying to figure their shit out. Like, how do I speak to the fact that I feel raw, I feel vulnerable, maybe I was abused, maybe I was mentally, physically, even sexually abused, and I'm struggling to find my way through that because a lot of the times shyness as a design, like some kids are born shy and some kids are born more adventurous and upbeat. We're talking about your two boys at the start of the call and the differences that you see in their own personalities. But then shyness is often then, subjugated onto people because of stuff that happened to them in life. And where do you see that?
That's the
You see it?
yeah. I was going to pause you just for a second, just to not get into an argument of introvert, extrovert, shy, outgoing. But generally, I see introverted as an inherent trait. Like you're born that way. Like in personality test, it's one of the um, four um, qualities. Shyness, I think, is more developed from your lived experience.
Mm, yeah.
So I went inward just because I was kind of a small kid. Like all my pictures growing up, I'm behind my mom. Like I don't think that that's a coincidence. Like I think the world kind of pushed me. Like I felt like the world was pushing me into the corner. So the shyness is actually like it's kind of like a lack of confidence, but for me, it's a yearning. Um, and you're in the corner and you want to be in the world, but something's holding you back in that and like like everybody's shot like there's people on Wall Street who are great on the phone, like they can talk their job all day long, but you put them in a bar and they're attracted to someone and they're shy. um like and it could be because of rejection in high school, like it all kind of like goes back to childhood. um but the shyness, but is I like is me not running from it and trying to be outgoing or charismatic, I wouldn't win that game. So it's more me like, hey, I'm okay back here in the corner. It's like I get to watch everybody with my books, like with my clients. Sometimes it's almost like a speechwriter for Obama or something. He's always like, my speechwriter is the guy who should be up here, but that speechwriter's fine back there. Like he's more that's where he's best served, but he's still a leader. So it's really interesting that the shyness, like I don't try and run from it and put myself out in front. I prefer back behind the scenes, watching, observing, listening. So when I do have something to say, it's like I'm that guy who I think of the best joke like 24 hours after a conversation. You like even comments online, like you like is like, oh, I'm quiet. I should be really fast typing. But my comebacks come back after a viral post had already passed on someone and I had something cool to say about it. So I need that time, and I think writing really helped me to get faster with that, because writing is thinking and it's also the best way to improve your speaking. Just because if you get down your stories, your ideas, it's just a matter of how you're going to say them instead of what you're going to say. So that, but leading into that, not fighting it. Like if I have to reflect, I go back in my cave and I write for a while. Um, so I design my life in a sense of like I live in a small town in Spain. Like people are asking me to give talks, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of good here. Like this is where I'm best. My article, like writing, is where I'm comfortable. It's where like I meet the most people. I get the most opportunities. And I don't have to play the normal author game of trying to build a business off the back of my book or giving talks everywhere. So it's just kind of knowing who I am and being cool with that.
Yeah, and it's funny. I had a call yesterday with a client of mine, and she's based in LA, and she's got a very successful business and glamorous life, and there's not for profit going on, and da 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 da. Busy life, busy life. But she's just burnt out,
Yeah.
and big part of our work together is helping her realize, like, as a woman in her 50s, why do you still feel that you need to dance to everybody else's tune? Like if you start to dance your own tune and live a life that is congruent with who you are as a human being, you will start to notice that you can be happier. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. Um, and that idea of, you being in Spain, and I think, look, you're in Catalonia. It's a part of Spain, for people who don't know, that is just devoid of conformity because it wants to separate itself from the rest of Spain. So it's kind of, I think, rather apt that you're in that space. It's not some place that is known for its ability to follow rule and structure. But I think you have crafted a life for yourself that is the one you want to lead, and within that you thrive. Whereas you're not going to get on and do a load of social media stuff. You're not going to be on Instagram. We had this conversation last week. We were talking about your book and promoting, and you were like, "Don't even fucking think I'm going on Instagram here, right?" It's that finding that space and pace of who you are has given you so much grace to then be this phenomenal writer.
Yeah, it's listening. I mean, like, I want to make stuff that other people share, not share my stuff all the time. But like, I have two young kids, and no matter what, like, even if I spend every day, like, second of the day, like, still in my deathbed, I'll probably think I wish I'd spent more time with my kids. But I like my work. I wouldn't be able to do what I do. Like, I like doing it my way, and me doing it my way isn't always the most, like, the smartest thing monetarily. But I live in a place like, if I was in New York City, like, I wouldn't be talking to you today. There's no way that I would have time. Like, I'd be flogging courses, I'd be left, right, and center. Um, and it just, like, I am like, I it's like I don't like to put it's like it's hard for me to put myself out into the world. Like, my work is uncomfortable generally, and my home is comfort, like is comfort. So I need to design my back end life, like my home, family, friends first, because I need that comfort in my life, to be able to push myself against some walls. And even publishing articles is like, I have a friend now. It's like I'm calling him and I'm like, tell me to hit publish, yell at me, just because, like, I'm freezing on it sometimes right now, just because of the pressure of the book, the self-imposed pressure of the book. So I still have that stuff, but I would go insane if I played the game of trying to be everyone, or like trying to be everywhere for everyone. And Cal Newport style, like, who was kind enough to endorse my book and read an earlier version of it. Like, he's kind of an influence. Like, he's a professor at Georgetown. He's not on social media. He has a podcast. That's his one vessel. And he has a newsletter. He could sell more books. He could make more money. But that's how he wants to operate. And he gave a lot of people I know permission also to do the same thing. And, like, hey, it's not, you don't have to play the game. Um, and it's the thing of my book. It's a little contradictory, as I'm offering principles, but it's basically, I want you to say that principle sucks. Mine's better. Like, my own is better. That would be like the best gift of the book, is like, no, 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 that's not right for me, and make your own rules.
But how do people do that? I mean, how do you inspire people to make those big calls?
What environment affects behavior, I think is the first thing. So, like, being very like, where is a massive part of life. We think of how, what, when, but where has, like, impacted me more. Like, just walking in front of the beach, like, I'm not a super hippie or anything, but my shoulders drop. I'm nicer to people on the street. Like, I need some sunshine. I get depressed in the winter. I grew up in Pennsylvania. It's gray. Um, Baltimore, yeah, wasn't the prettiest of places to spend my college years and the first years afterwards. And I'm just happy. Like, where do you feel lighter? But in terms of inspiring people to make a change, it helps that like one of my other stories, and like in addition to growing up stuttering, is I like after I got my confidence, like I made some money in the United States in sales. I took all of it to Central America and I tried my hand at flipping properties. And I was expecting like I was trying to sell the house I had on the beach in Costa Rica, like in the day I was expecting a wire, I got a call saying that that's not going to happen, and my business partner's dad had stolen the house, and he sold it out from under me. I lost 220 $250,000 in a phone call. Um, all that training of figuring out who I am went out like the window, and I went to a bar and I sat there for 2 years, and I did things, yeah, I shouldn't have done. Um, and I got to the point though, like I gained 60 pounds. Um, and I bought a ticket to Barcelona as kind of a Hail Mary. I had $3,000 in my bank account and I moved to a new country. Like, and I was more or less in the state of like, I need to make this work. If not, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so that story helps too, of like, like overcoming challenges, then you're like you reach a mountain, then you cut the mountain out from under you, and then you have to come up again. And all of those things though, like I lost the money, and like some of my happiest times were like struggling in the streets of Barcelona, like making it work. I had to hustle again. Is like I went from making money to being illegal here, and I was teaching English for like $8 an hour, taking a bus. My first job, I think I paid $10 in transportation for an $8 roll. But looking back though, like that was like just the non-pressure of expectations around me. Nobody knew me. I could kind of just start again. Was really helpful. And like I love in Spain, like people stay close to family. Like I love it. Um, but at the same point, like I like the thing of like take a couple years and try a new place. If it doesn't work, you can always go back. Um, but having overcome challenges or inspire other people to do it, I inspire it by just sharing my stories. Like if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, it does, because also, I think when I was listening to you talking about getting to Barcelona, and I think that that old saying of necessity is the mother of invention. I think when we get to do things because we have to, out of sheer need, we're less concerned about what other people might think, and then the more we have, the harder it is to change, and the more we get concerned about what people might think. But I know from your story and working with you and the book and your writing, it's when you get to live your life on your terms
Yeah.
that you find that comfort with, shy. It's okay. you know I know how to roll. I know how I want to be in the world. I know who I want to be in the world. And because I've found that knowledge, I find the peace and understanding of being myself. And I think for a lot of folks, that's the big challenge. And I don't think there's ever a point where you get it right. Like yes, look, I could sell and hustle about, oh, follow me and change your life exponentially. Your world is going to be completely different. Like most of the
Yeah.
work with me struggle because changing the way that your nervous system operates and becoming more fluid and in flow state is not going to happen quickly, right? It's not a blue
No.
pill. You got to learn how to breathe again. You got to learn how to deal with your trauma, deal with your issues. So so being more empowered is about slowing down. And back to Cal Newport, like what is his superpower? It's the simplicity of his living.
Yeah. Yeah.
you
That's
know?
what's attractive to everybody who I read is just like he's a brilliant mind. He like well, like he's got a couple things going for him, but like it is the thing of like, oh, he's doing it his way is super attractive.
Exactly. And I think that's what you're doing. And I think that's what this book appeals to. It's that ability to help shy people understand
Yeah.
it's a world that they're able to be part of too. It's not a world where they have to hide behind their mother's apron as a kid. You can stand alongside and be okay not to be the first person to speak, but to know that you're equally
Yeah.
empowered to be party to any situation.
Yeah, you can still be confident and shy, like shy at the same time, or quiet confidence beats loud confidence any day of the week. If you ask any CEO type, like it's the dangerous ones who aren't saying much but are listening and taking notes that you usually have to keep an eye on. Like, and I'll like just end on one thing is it's the start of my book. It's a little story, like it's a really short story, and before the introduction of my kid Liam is shy and like and he stutters. And when he was 5, his teacher um, does this thing at the end of every year. She asks the students to write down the name of the one person who they most appreciated in class with them, and just for her own like records. And she'll talk to the parents about it, like, but not like it's not a competition in class, you know. And she does it every year. And she met with us and she was like, Liam's name was written down 5 times, and 26 out of the 27 students were all the quiet, shy ones. And she was like, it really makes you think of who the popular students are, doesn't it?
Thanks for taking the time today to speak here on my channel, and I know the folks who watch my content will resonate a lot with you and your writing style and your approach. Your book is now available on Amazon and other booksellers, and we'll put the links down below. And how else should people connect
My,
to you? Like,
my website is michaelthompson.art, like artist, and that will disperse you. That kind of has the buttons to push of how to send in. Yeah, if you want to shoot me an email, say hi on LinkedIn. I write to meet people, so don't be shy about saying hi. I guess that should be my tagline. Yeah.
like that. And the last thing I want to ask you to share for other folks who are watching, for younger people who may struggle a little bit too, and they've got a stutter, what would you share with them in terms of how to manage life?
It was my wife thought it was the cutest thing in the world. So there's always someone, yeah, like it's so easy to get caught up in our own heads. Um, and we realize that most people are thinking about themselves just as like more than they're thinking about you. And like it's really nice. Like I work with, like, just last month, this past summer, I've been working with this kid who is 19 at the University of Cincinnati, and he grew up stuttering in a small town in Ohio. He's a black kid, not an easy upbringing, and he emailed me saying, "I want to be class president," and the kid did it. He got voted class president. It took me probably 40. Like I don't know if I have that confidence yet, but putting yourself up, like out into the world, like it doesn't have to be massive steps, but just putting yourself out like a little bit will attract the right people towards you. And life is long too. Like, you know, like some of the, like I'm happy now, like I'm happier than most people I like know now, just because like I had times when I wasn't happy. So I like know the ups and downs of stuff. And we all meet in the long road to the middle where at age 40, like no one's making fun of my stutter. If they are, they're bigger, like they look like assholes. So it's kind of like in high school too, like it, like we, like people laugh, but it, like for me, I think it's almost a defense mechanism of the bystanders. um so that would be, yeah, the couple of things that, but for me it's the wife. Yeah, it's like it leads with the wife of being like, ah, like she's like, oh, it's different. Like and different's good.
Different is good. Nice. Thank you.
And
Uh,
thank you. Yeah, thank you for the time. Like, this is a full circle moment for me. Like, we initially connected through a friend, but like you were going to help me to get on video and comfortable and giving talks more and teaching at university. So this is a full circle moment of, yeah, thank you for everything.
Great to see you do it, man. I hope everybody gets an opportunity to experience your reading. So even if that's just by checking out Mike's Substack, but I would implore you, buy the book, get hold of it. It's a treasure to read. His writing style is inspiring. I hope it's going to inspire me. It's certainly get me in the right direction. To be honest, his influence and his editing makes a huge difference. So thanks for
I
today.
like to fix words because I'm not good saying them. I don't speak good, so
I don't speak too
so I
good.
have to write well.
You've been an absolute pleasure to talk to as always, man. And good luck with the book. Happy birthday for the rest of today.
Thank you, sir.
Look forward to catching up with you on Monday when you're kicking my ass again about what I've written over the
I'm
weekend.
gonna, yeah, I'm gonna take you through the ringer after making me do this for an hour. See ya, man. Thank
Thanks a
you
lot.
again.